And great to have you back with us once again on Yankees Hot Stove. So we talk more about the Yankees infield for 2015 and the impending signing of Stephen Drew. They got to cross the T's and dot the I's. But I, like you, Jack, would have loved to have seen that Refsnyder-Pirela competition. Doesn't mean they won't still compete and be given a long look in spring training. But what is the value of bringing Drew back to this infield?
Bob, you have a guy who has done it before and who we know is going to catch the ball and do it at an above-average level. Now, he only hit 160 last year. I believe the Yankees think he's a better hitter than that, too, and they're hoping that he can do that. But this is what he can do, whether it's second base or shortstop. It's a guy they can put out there and they can rely on. We saw how much their offense struggled last year. One of the key phrases around the Yankees this year, and I think we're seeing in the offseason, is going to be run prevention. If you're not going to score a ton of runs, make sure the other team doesn't score. And I think with Drew as the option at second base, he's going to catch the ball. Refsnyder will hit, but they're worried about him defensively. Drew gives them that security blanket.
It's funny how we've morphed from the phrase run production to run prevention, because that is really the way it's becoming, Kenny.
Yeah, and I think, look, as we've grown more sophisticated in now analyzing the game, we talk about run differential. So it doesn't really matter whether you score more runs or allow fewer, both achieve the same goal. So in this era where offense is so depressed, it makes sense for the Yankees to try to improve their run prevention.
Now, we've talked about this on past Hot Stoves when they got Nathan Eovaldi, about how it might help him. If he can get him to hit the ball on the ground, he's got some nice defenders behind him. Doesn't that also go for anybody? If CC Sabathia, by the way, Tyler, isn't going to be the dominant strikeout pitcher he once was, if he can get guys to hit the ball on the ground, he's got defenders now all over that field that can help him out.
Right, yeah, and to Jack's point, too, you know, Refsnyder, it would be fun from a story perspective to see how those young guys battle it out at second base, or unproven guys. But everybody, every manager, every GM wants a little bit of certainty. And let's face it, the Yankees have three big guys who get hurt a lot: Carlos Beltran, Mark Teixeira, and Alex Rodriguez. Not to say that, you know, Drew won't get hit with an injury, but, you know, this makes sense because it's you know, only $5 million for one thing, and it's a little more certainty to a team that has a lot of uncertain parts.
Let's also talk more about how Joe Girardi can move parts around the infield. You could put Drew at shortstop. You could put him at second base. Could you move Headley over to first a little bit? Would you put Garrett Jones there? And then you could use Garrett Jones left-handed as a DH. So there are some options there.
I think, Bob, you hit it on the last thing you said there about the left side. And Tyler brought this up in our pre-show meeting about how the Yankees can now assemble a lineup on certain days if they wanted to, where everybody in the batting order hits from the left side. So you're going to see a lot of right-handed pitchers. This would be that lineup. And I think that gives Joe Girardi some very interesting options. We know Girardi loves to match up. Well, how can you match up better against a righty than to have 9 left-handed batters?
Right, and let's remember, 2 of the best left-handers in baseball are out of the division now, with John Lester with the Cubs and David Price is with Detroit. So there's not a lot of imposing left-handers in this division right now. Boston has Wade Miley. You see Mark Burley. The Yankees always beat him. Drew Smyly's pretty good down there in Tampa Bay, and Wei-Yin Chen and Matt Moore's coming back. But really, you're not going to face a lot of lefties. So a right-handed dominant division, you know, get an all-lefty lineup, it's got a pretty good chance in the AL East.
Sorry, Tyler. Playing out the scenario even further, if an opposing manager then wants to bring in a lefty and he's looking at a Yankee bench, if A-Rod actually can perform, a Yankee bench with A-Rod and Chris Young, and we saw John Ryan Murphy can hit a little bit, all of a sudden that's very interesting for Joe Girardi to have those pinch hit options available late in the game.
Yeah, well, that graphic that we just saw, too, Bob, taking nothing away from any of those pitchers. Mark Burley has been a very competent pitcher for a long time, but you look at that graphic of the lefties in the AL East and I say, you know, where's the beef? You know, from a commercial from 30 years ago. It's kind of like, where's the ace? There's nobody there who you're saying is going to be a Lester, is going to be a Price. So it could be something that works in the Yankees' favor.